Righty, guys. How is everybody tonight? We are going to now look at a little bit of a recap. That's what we're going to do here. A little bit of a recap. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks, and then we're going to go everywhere. So quarterback-wise, we have Daniel Jones signing. Daniel Jones to the Indianapolis Colts. I don't like the deal. It's $14 million. It's a ton of money. I know that Steichen is desperate. I know that Chris Ballard is desperate, but I'm not the biggest Daniel Jones fan now. He is going to play inside. He does have Alec Pierce, and he does have Pittman to throw the football to, Adonai Mitchell. Still, I'm not enamored with the deal. Think it's a ton of money. I would keep rolling with Anthony Richardson, but the one problem with Richardson is his ability actually to escape the pocket. Pocket awareness is something that's really tough, and that's something that's hard to fix. So I don't exactly love it. Joey Bosa to the Bills, really like this move after losing Von Miller. You get a veteran in Bosa. $12 million deal, a lot of money, but again, high upside and a win now team. DeAndre Hopkins bouncing now to the Baltimore Ravens. Again, a high profile wide receiver going to Baltimore. All right. Don't exactly mind it either. Couple of running back news. So you have Najee Harris. Najee Harris ends up going to the Chargers. I think he could end up competing for a starting spot. And then you also have Javonte Williams. He ends up going to the Dallas Cowboys, but that in no way does that take Ashton Genty out of the running if you are in Dallas. That's only a 1-year deal for Javonte Williams, all right? Sam Darnold to the Seahawks, again, very reasonable contract. So really, again, think that that's a pretty good deal for Seattle. I said that the Patriots overpaid on some guys. Wide receiver market, like Darius Slayton getting a ton of cash. The other wide receivers that are out there in free agency, like Mac Hollins getting a big time deal, Honey Badger staying in New Orleans, Justin Reed, pretty good. I think the Saints have had themselves a good offseason. You have Chase Young as well there, so Leonard Floyd to the Leonard Floyd back to Atlanta. Grady Jarrett out. The Texans defense should be all right, with Gardner Johnson. Interesting move by the Eagles. They're probably going to draft a safety replacement. Howie Roseman could tell that Gardner Johnson's probably going to bounce in free agency next year. It's part of the deal, part of the process. They get back a 5th rounder. They get back a project at guard in Kenyon Green. So overall, really interesting, free agency period in the National Football League. I think that the Jags have done solid. The Jags haven't had a lot of money. The New Orleans Saints really haven't had a lot of money to spend. They've kind of been on the outside. The Cardinals last year, I felt like were bigger spenders in the free agent market. They go out and get Josh Sweat. The biggest movers and shakers, the New York Giants have really signed a lot of players in the secondary and for this defense. The Patriots, and then also Carolina. Carolina gets Trevon Moehrig, really good safety, and then they even get a pretty solid defensive line piece from the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. So Carolina also trying to elevate this defense. They re-signed Jimmy Horn. So Carolina also doing fine. If I were to point to teams that have lost the free agency, I think the Steelers have been incredibly quiet. They went out and got Metcalf, but they need to get a wide receiver. They still need pieces. I want them to get another tight end. I'm actually going to say the Raiders, because the Raiders are signing big-time players, but they're just going immediately to purgatory. The Cleveland Browns, I have no idea what they're trying to build. Like, they're not really helping out their ball club. The Cincinnati Bengals, so the AFC North's really struggling. The Bengals are having a really tough free agency period. They're in the midst of trying to sign these wide receivers, and Duke Tobin's kind of fallen asleep at the wheel. So the Cincinnati Bengals, New England Patriots, like a lot of these AFC teams, Cleveland Browns, they are building poorly. The Texans are building pretty damn nicely. Now, again, the Texans got to have consistent culture now. You know, Laramie Tunsil leaves, Kenyon Green leaves. They got to get some offensive line. Their defense has to play at a consistent level, but there's talent there, so it's an exciting time for D'Amico. And then Braxton Berrios, I really like that signing for $6 million a year. So I like what the Texans are doing. I like what Nick Caserio's doing, actually. So the Jags, the Texans, like, are you being savvy with your signings? The Jags are being, pretty wise spenders of cash. All right, Buffalo again. Buffalo with Josh Allen. They don't have the opportunity to really spend, so they're just going after all of these veterans, trying to sign all these older running backs, all Bosa and stuff like that. Who else is a winner? Chicago. Chicago's kind of built this line. Now, it is older players. Will it come to fruition? That will be interesting to watch as well. Tell me who y'all's winners or losers are, all right, in free agency. I'll give, right now, I'll just give a synopsis of the winners of free agency. I'm going to go with the New York Giants. Love the defensive signings, okay? Paulson Adebo, Chauncey Golston, and of course Holland on the defensive side with Roy Robertson Harris and C.J. Board. So that's really improving a side of the football. The Denver Broncos, I love their signings. I love the safety out of San Francisco. Like, he's a very aggressive player. He was one of the best players in the league in 2022. Like, you get him healthy, boy, oh boy. They also get Dre Greenlaw, so they have guys from the NFC Championship team. I'm really excited about their signings. And then they might even get Evan Ingram on top of that. That would be a lot. So Denver, I like the splashes a lot. I like what Denver's been doing. I mentioned Carolina, Jimmy Horn, Morig, the D tackle from the Kansas City Chiefs. They've been active. Dan Morgan, a little bit underrated. Bryce Young showed some signs. It's been a good free agent class for Carolina. I think that they've won free agency more than the Patriots. The Patriots would be under the loser category because I think they're overspending on a lot of players. Overspending on a lot of marginal players. Cincinnati, not doing much. Who else is kind of overspending? Boy, oh boy. The Packers, Aaron Banks, that's a huge contract for Aaron Banks. But they have so much guard depth. Somebody should trade for one of their guards. I watched that Seahawks game, and that was exciting to watch. Who else? It's tough to say who's like a real loser of free agency because this is a time when you're mostly adding, you're mostly excited about these contracts. I might even say the Dallas Cowboys. I might even say Dallas because they are just mirrored right now in a problem. So since he's a problem, Cleveland, they signed Garrett. You could have used that money elsewhere. Why not try to trade and rebuild? I know Garrett's a phenomenal player, but they should have tried to trade Garrett and actually just kick off the rebuild with Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. They should have went full-on tilt rebuild with Deshaun Watson's contract. They're really in no man's land. The Raiders have an older head coach, a very veteran offensive coordinator in Chip Kelly. They're not looking to rebuild at all. They have nice players on their team, but once again, they have an aging quarterback, aging staff. Denver actually has a brighter future. The Denver Broncos and the Chargers are eventually going to catch Kansas City. We're just going to have to see when it's going to be in this AFC West. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me hear your opinions, too, on who won free agency. Chicago, I have no problem with what they did at all. They're going to be a popular choice. The Washington Redskins, I mean, you could call them Washington whatever. Washington, that football team, they get Laramie Tunsil, who's a talent. They get Deebo Samuel. They're out here being aggressive. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for watching.